Well, it's so nice to be with you. I gotta love it. Tonight is episode number 236. It's the episode, last one of 2025, my friends. I am Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. I'm over here in chilly South Jersey outside of Philadelphia. And as always, joining me from the left coast, my very good friend and the president of the International Pop Overthrow Music Festival, Mr. David Bash, looking snazzy as usual, except the bling is hidden tonight, but he does have the matching collar and
you want the bling out?
Bling out. No, I like the matching collar and fedora. That looks pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, this is a shirt I just got. I get so many compliments on my shirts when I'm out and about. And people seem to think I get them at these like exotic shirt shops. Nothing could be further from the truth. They're Facebook ads.
No, there's so many cool shirts that way. Hey, hello, old tie-dye guy watching from Akron. How you doing?
I've heard so WIXY or Wixie. I've heard a lot of air checks off of Wixie. So I'm familiar with
1260 online. Nice. Oh, we got a great show tonight. We're going to have a really good time. It's our final show of 2025, and it is episode number 236. If you're not familiar with Material Issues, we'll run that link across the bottom, materialissues.com. You can go there. It's the YouTube feed. It's live, but all these shows are archived there, and you can check out all the archives. Subscribe. Tell your friends all about it. We do some great interviews. We got a great one coming up tonight. But what else is new in your world, David?
Well, it's been a fairly uneventful holiday season, which is fine. I wouldn't have it any other way. But on the other hand, I'm trying to get some work done, and nobody's around.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. Thank you for saying that. I still need to set up a lot of things for International Pop Overthrow in various cities in Europe, and I can't get a hold of anyone. So it's been frustrating, but hopefully after the new year, things will settle. Plus, I have a lot of bands whose music I need to listen to as potential performers at IPO. I also have to put my 2025 albums in alphabetical order so that I can more easily put my lists together.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have the list done by the second week of January. And then, of course, we have the show in which I'll play tracks from the top 25. So that's all coming up. Beyond that, we had some fairly awful weather out here. Awful for us.
Yeah.
A high of gas 59 and rainy, which happens every winter.
Feel terrible for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I know you guys have probably had some snow going on there.
Oh, yeah. And we were in the 20s today, 28.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's crazy. We're going up to 55 tomorrow, and then back
I heard,
it's just nuts. But it's been fine. We've had a good holiday season. My oldest daughter Hannah got engaged last week on my birthday.
Congratulations!
Which is a kind of big news. So that happened. I've been doing basketball tournaments. I did 4 games yesterday with announcing, so my voice is a little bit. And I got 4 more games tomorrow. It's the holiday season still, and then I'll work New Year's Eve and play little songs as I shake some martinis. So you never know.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be.
I play some early 70s music. I don't know.
You might play some early 70s music? You mean like maybe a really big hit from 1972?
I might.
One that finished number 14 for the year on Billboard, and number 14 for the year on WABC's Top 100.
Yes.
I remember that because I grew up in New York, and WABC was my station of choice. And every Christmas morning, I would be awake at 6 o'clock, notebook and pen in hand, writing down the top 100 of the year. And 1972 was right in my wheelhouse.
Yes.
And they never counted them. ABC didn't count them down in order. They would play things randomly.
Mm.
So, I'd have numbers 1 to 100 marked, and then I would just fill them in as they came in.
How cool
And
is that?
they generally played the songs that finish in the top 10 more often than the ones who finish in different positions.
Yeah.
But certainly the one that finished number 14 was one that I loved quite a bit. It's a song called "Nice to Be With You," and it's by a band called Gallery. And it is one of those songs that anyone who grew up at that time knows the song, no doubt about it. But they may not know who did it. But Gallery was far from a one-hit wonder. They had a couple of other top 40 hits, but sometimes people like to call them that. It's a misnomer. But so they had 3 hits. They had 2 albums on the Sussex Records label. And then their main man went on to release a couple of solo albums later in the decade. And he's still out there performing. Yes, I'm sure. He's still out there performing. And in fact, he's writing songs for his daughter, Melissa, who performs them. So definitely a family thing going on. And as long as this guy performs, he'll never be forgotten, nor will the name of his band. So we're really glad to have him as a guest today on Material Issues. So without further ado, would you please give a huge Material Issues welcome to Mr. Jim Gold.
And there he is.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I heard you talk about the weather. We're not too far away from that. We've had some 20-some, 30 degrees, a lot of rain right now. I don't know if you're having rain right now, but you're talking about having some high winds and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we feel really bad for David out there in Southern California with a low of 59, don't we, Jim?
Hey, no, it's a high of 59. Come on. Our low is like about, I don't know, 40 something.
No, it's terrible. I feel for you.
Well, now it actually was sunny today after all that rain, but we're going to get more rain on over the holiday, over the New Year's weekend. So yeah,
this was really a dreary day. I mean, it was one of those days where you just want to stay in your jammies and hit the couch, and it was just all gray, no sun, rain. It's just one of those depressing kind of days.
Well, I've got a nice T-shirt on, but you don't see me from the waist down, which is my jammies. So,
oh, really? You got your jammies?
I'm not going to stand up. No,
it's only 5 o'clock out here, so not jammy time yet. But
well, you look fantastic, Jim. We talk about the early '70s, and it's hard to believe it's that far away when you think about it. But
oh my God, I know it went so fast. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. When someone says, "You realize it's been over 50 years and you're still getting played on the radio," I go, "I know. It's hard to believe." Really.
It's been 53 years since "Nice to Be With You" is a big hit, and I always do things. I kind of do a retro thing where what was 53 years before 1972? We're talking about 1919. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah. No.
Isn't that something? I just and we talked about that. Of course, that massive track for you. It really is one of the benchmarks of 1972. If you grew up in and around that period, you hear that song, it takes you right back to so many wonderful things, and that's got to be such a great feeling for you, Jim, to know that what you wrote and what you sang just takes people back.
Well, we were just going through that. My daughter was showing me a bunch of messages that came in on her phone because we've been putting some new songs on my website, and I was sitting here reading them while she was making dinner, and it was really touching. I mean, I told her, I said, "Honey," I said, "this is what this is about. It's communication with other human beings." I said, "The rest is BS." I said, "But
Absolutely.
when somebody tells you you're a part of their life growing up," I said, "how can you ask for anything more than that. I said, that's beautiful. It really is. It's touching. It gets to me once in a while.
It really, really is. And again, your career is much more than just that song. Although I want to ask you, there's one thing I've always been curious about with Nice to Be With You. The intro. Yeah. The intro of that song is very different from what comes next. It almost seems like they're part of two different songs. Had they originally were they different? Were they parts of two different songs, or did it just sort of flow out of one idea?
What song are you talking about?
Nice to Be With You. The intro sounds very different from when the singing starts.
Oh, I don't know. It just kind of, I was working my day job, and I wrote it because I was bored, basically. And by the time I got home, it was already kind of together. And I just started it out that way with this old acoustic guitar, and it just stuck. And everybody, the minute they hear that beginning, they go, "Oh yeah, we know what this is," So it worked out.
It's a classic riff because, again, 4 seconds into it, you know exactly what it is, and it's a classic riff. Real quick, I know you mentioned your daughter Mel. I do want to make a special thank you to Mel for hooking us up and making this happen tonight. And I know that you're writing material for her own singing career. So anybody looking down the road for anything that Mel Gold is doing, you just keep that in mind as well. But
oh yeah, we've really been doing I'm so happy with the stuff we've been doing. We've done about 15 songs already.
Wow.
And my website, we got 3 of them on there now. So if you want to hear kind of what we're doing now, you can go on jimgold.org, and you can hear the first 3 songs that we did, and they're all different from each other. Feel-wise and everything, but it's been a whole new dimension for me because I've gone down roads writing that I wouldn't have gone down had it not been a female voice. And what she's doing has been so good. She's learned everything so fast, and her voice is really, it's one of those voices that doesn't sound like anybody else, which I like a lot. It's distinctive as to how she sounds. I mean, some people, you listen to them and you go, oh, they're trying to sound like so-and-so, or I know who they grew up listening to, because you can hear it, that you're copying from somebody. And what I like about what we're doing now, it sounds very fresh to me. And I love the songs, and there's only 4 of us like doing the whole thing, all the instruments, and the guy that owns the studio is playing the drums. so we got everybody kind of sucked in. But I suggest that if people want to hear some of the new things we're doing, nice. to go.
I got it. Well, I got it scrolling across the bottom right now, jimgold.org. Anybody can see that either live here or in the archive. So check that out. But let's rewind a little bit, Jim. You grew up in Detroit area, and were you influenced at all by the Motown sound, or what was really turning you on when you were young?
I grew up in East Detroit, and typical, everyday kind of neighborhood. Matter of fact, every once in a while I still go down the old neighborhood and it's funny how you can't put yourself back there. It's like you dreamed it. I drive down the same streets and everything looks smaller. The houses look smaller. I said, wow, we didn't have no yard. What was going on here? But it was a great time to grow up. I'll tell you, I would have taken no other era. I got to see 10 years old in 57. I was already buying records. Jerry Lee Lewis, Buddy Holly, all that stuff, Elvis. And my love for it just came from there. And then I decided one day that I'd like to take lessons. And it's not like it is now where, everybody plays something or sings something. So, but back then you had to look far and wide if you wanted to rehearse with somebody or start a little band. You had to search out who was in the area that you could actually play with and do something with. So
Yeah.
that's how it kind of started for me. I just, started taking guitar lessons, realized that I like to sing, and it all just never, ever did I ever believe what would happen to me would happen. I mean, it
But
was a dream.
here's what I find interesting, Jim. You grew up in an area, like Mark mentioned, with a lot of R&B and soul, and also a lot of amazing rock bands like the Amboy Dukes and MC5, people like that. And yet your sound,
It's
sound
not
has a lot of twang.
Yeah, it's not a Detroit sound at all. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, the steel guitar player on Nice to Be With You is legendary now in country music. His name is Paul Franklin. And matter of fact, the Country Music Awards, I think they just gave him some kind of a lifetime award thing. But he was living in Detroit with his family. He was 15 years old. I wanted to put a steel guitar in there, and my producers, Mike Theodore and Dennis Coffey, they said, you do know where you live, right, Jim? And I go, yeah. He said, nobody's ever put a steel guitar in a song that have come out of this area and been a hit. I said, well, then we'll have to be the first.
Right.
So we couldn't find anybody to play. So they went to the union, and there was one name in the whole union book, and it was this Paul Franklin. Now we thought, here comes a father and son walking, and we're thinking, oh, it's the dad. The kid came along to watch, but it wasn't. It was him. He was a prodigy. I mean, he ended up playing on, I think, 3 songs off the first album. Nice to Be With You, Big City Miss Ruth Ann, and a song on there, another song I wrote called Louisiana Line. And he moved away at 15. I mean, after he graduated, his family went to Nashville, and he went there already having a job with Barbara Mandrell at 15.
Yeah.
So he was a real shy kid, and I finally met him after all these years in Canada at the casino there. He plays with Vince Gill all the time.
Yeah.
So he's in High Canton here. So I talked to him, and I said, my God, Paul, I said, what was that like for you back then? I mean, you were just a kid, and how did that feel to you? He said, well, when you guys showed up on Bandstand, I was very jealous. He said, because I wasn't in there with you. And I said, you know what? You made the right move, buddy. I said, you played for everybody from Dire Straits to Vince Gill to I Swear, John Michael Montgomery. He's on all Brooks and Dunn, Shania Twain. He's on all those records.
Yeah.
So you did not make my friend, believe me.
But so you didn't meet him. He came in as a studio guy and did the part. So you didn't even meet him back in the day when it was recorded.
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear you that well.
No, I'm saying you didn't meet him back when the track was recorded, and you said you met him for the first time.
I wasn't in the studio when he recorded it, so I didn't meet him until 40 some years later. When we went to a Vince Gill show, and I got a hold of my phone. I said, look, my wife and I are coming to the show. Is there any way we can meet up? He said, yeah, when the show's over and everybody's leaving, you and Pam stick around and come down to the front of the stage, and I'll come back out. So it was great. We talked, took some pictures together and reminisced, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was so nice to be a part of his. I was actually the first pop record and hit record that he ever played on. So I feel good about that. And he's had an amazing career, and I've always been 100% for him. I think he's great.
Yeah, what was your experience like on American Bandstand? Tell us a little about Dick Clark.
Oh my God. Well, you know as well as I do that our generation, I mean, American Bandstand was the show. And they timed it so you got out of school, came home, got in your play clothes, jumped down on the floor with a snack, and there it was in glorious black and white from Philadelphia at about 4:30 or something like that. And I think it ran for about an hour and a half back then. if I remember right. And that was our only thing to gauge. I mean, we didn't know who these people looked like. We heard them on the radio, on our transistor radio, and we had no idea, who are these people? Are they from another planet? Where are they from? And Bandstand would have an act on there, and you'd get to see them, and they talk and this and that. So that was our only, it wasn't like now where there's no secrets. Everything's out and open on everybody everywhere. So when the record started taking off, there was a guy that came out from Sussex Records, and he came to this little bar I was working at, and he said, Jim, I believe It's Nice to Be With You is going to be a huge hit. And he said, I'm going to run all over the country, hit every station I can get, and get him to play it. Well, he's the guy who sang lead on Barbara Ann, The Regents. So he worked for Sussex as a promotion man. So next thing I know, my producer's coming in, and we're playing on the weekend. I just got a little trio, and he says, Jim, I got some news for you. Buy me a drink. I said, this better be good if I got to buy you a drink. So he said, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, you sold 1 million copies of your first record. And I just looked at him. I mean, how do you react to that? I felt like just the guy on the block. You know, I mean, I didn't feel special or anything. I just did something that I loved doing, and it worked out. And CKLW in Canada was the first one to play it, I believe. And I didn't even know it had come out. I'm driving to work. 1972, wow. I'm 25 years old, and I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden I'm half asleep, and the song comes on. I'm kind of singing along with it. And I said, why do I know this? And then I pulled over the side of the road, and I said, oh my God, that's my record. Now everybody at work had heard it, so by the time I walked in the door, they're going crazy. And this was a loud place with a lot of noise in it, but every time the song came on, the people in the office shut all the machines down so that we could all hear the song, and then everything would start up again the minute the song ended. So they were doing that all day. But as far as Dick Clark and stuff, I will say this about him. When we got the call to say, you know, hey, we want you on Bandstand, you know, can you do it this date? I was in heaven. This is something that if I would have just done that and nothing else, I'd have been happy. I could have died a happy man right there, because that was my dream, to be on that show. And by then, of course, it was in color, and it was in California. And so we go there, and when we walk in, it was so surreal. The whole place was empty. They had taken a break for dinner or lunch or whatever it was. So the whole set was empty. So the set, and my mind is going back as a kid, saying, here's the podium, here's the thing where the band plays and all this kind of stuff. And so we go in the dressing room, and we're getting made up and all this. And all Dick Clark walks in, big as life. He says, hi guys. He says, you know, I'm Dick Clark, and like, oh yeah, we didn't know that. So he introduced himself, and then he actually asked us the question he was going to ask us. And I said, well, why did you get surprised? He said, well, that's the problem. And you'd be surprised how many people freeze. I asked him a question, and you see this blank look on their face like, He said, so this way you know what's coming, and you know what I'm going to ask him, and you're comfortable with it. So I feel that as long as he did that show that many years, that was his baby, you could tell. And he loved it, and he made you feel special. He knew that that was important to you, to be on that show. And he went out of his way to make you very comfortable, and that's all I needed to know about the man. I respect him for that.
That's great.
Did you practice lip syncing a lot before you got to the show?
Yeah, I was pretty good at it, actually. Yeah.
I always wonder how people can do that so well. I know if I was a musician, I'd stumble, I'd forget one lyric, and it would be obvious.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, we didn't have the band totally together at the time. So we were short a few people, so we called a guy. Well, the bass player in the band called a friend of his in California who was a drummer for a group that used to be in Detroit. So he said, look, hey, we got to do this bandstand thing. We're going to have a drummer. Can you show up at the studios? Well, they played the song once or twice, and he learned it, how to lip sync to it with the drums. And I had to write his name in ink on my hand because I didn't know who he was. So at the end of the show, he said, okay, thanks. We enjoyed it. Had a good time. He went home. We went home. That was it,
Wow. That's unbelievable. So let's talk a little bit about, I mean, you basically said, nice to be with you, came to you while you were at work one day when you were bored. You figured it out. You wrote it now. Now it's climbing the charts. It's selling 1 million copies. You've got to do Bandstand, but Gallery wasn't really a band, right? Gallery was, how did Gallery come to be when it was really basically you?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, it was me and a childhood friend of mine named Bill Portnova, and we grew up together. We always practiced together. I actually had to talk his parents into letting him take guitar lessons so I would have somebody to practice with, because I hated just doing it by myself. So we became good friends, and we played in all these little bands and stuff when we were kids. Talent shows, we'd open up a new car place or a Cub Scout thing or a wedding or whatever. And then when I started to play bars, the first bar I played at, I did by myself. I sat on a stool. I didn't even have a PA system of any kind. I think I plugged my guitar and my microphone into my amp, and whatever came out, came out. But I enjoyed that too. But once again, I didn't like being alone. So I talked to Bill one day and I said, would you like to do this with me? We could make a couple extra bucks. And he said, yeah, sure. So we started playing these little bars, and we were at a little bar called the Gold Door. And I think I had a trio there, same thing, no bass, no drums, just two guys banging away, singing every song that came in our head. And we started getting a pretty good following. So I had asked the producers one day, I said, what made you stop into that little bar? Because they were working for Sussex and they were looking for talent. So they were going to all the clubs in the area to see what they could see. So they said, well, we saw this line coming out of the door and we thought, ooh, there's got to be a hot group in here. Well, the hot group turned out to be just two young guys sitting on stools playing, and people were dancing to us, believe it or not. And they sat there and go, what in the hell is going on here? There must be something going on. So they approached me and told me who they were. And I kind of was a little hesitant because I'd heard all this before. Oh, yeah, I work for Ed Sullivan, or I do this, or I do that. So I almost didn't come back out and talk to them. I went in the back room and I said, I don't know if I want to talk to these guys. I don't know if they're legitimate. So I finally realized who they were. And they said, can you write? And I said, well, I write for my own amusement. I don't know, They said, well, look, take any song you got, even if it's half written.
Oops.
Oh, we lost him. Well, that was really good. We got to remember where we're at. Take any song you got, even though it's half written. We make sure it's material issues. Sometimes we have issues. We got a bunch of people tuning in. We're going to get Jim. We're going to get Jim back ASAP. But I'll tell Melissa we've lost him.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw anybody drop that quickly.
Oh, here we go. He's back.
Right, here we go.
Hold on. We're just waiting on the video feed. There we go. Now we're back.
Are we?
I don't know.
What happened?
Are you there, Mel?
There we are.
Can you hear us?
There, yeah. Something went, uh-oh. But
That's okay.
So
We had all these people watching. No, go ahead. You're good, Jim. Go.
Now he's not hearing us.
Hear you.
1, 2, check. Hello, Jim. It's nice to be with you.
Okay. Yeah. wow, that's a new one. But anyway, I got together with these guys and they said, well, look, we'll finance a 4-song demo and we'll turn it in and see what happens. So they said, we have one song. So that's why we were listening to, because they were carrying around the song Big City Miss Ruth Ann, and they gave me a copy of it and they said, do you think you can sing this? I said, well, yeah, I think so. So they said, well, you got to write the other 3. Oh, no pressure there, So I came up with the other 3 songs, one of which was Nice to Be With You. We started practicing and we went in a little studio that they used and put it together, and they turned it into Sussex, and somebody heard something in it there and said, well, we'll tell you what, we'll put this out, and if it hits, you can finish it off and do an album. But, if not, so I said, well, okay. So I figured, well, here's my shot. And we listened to the 4 of them, and they said to me, which one do you think is the one? I said, I think it's Nice to Be With You. I said, not because it's a complicated, difficult song or anything. I said, I just feel that it's got a lot of hooks. I found out later that a lot of radio shows used to love to use it to open their show because of the first line or so. Oh, it's so nice to be with you. And then I was reading all these things a while ago. It's kind of funny because Melissa was showing me, and it's amazing how many people thought I was Neil Diamond.
You know who else got that a couple of years later? Andy Kim with Rock Me Gently.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody,
yeah.
But he milked it. If you look at the album cover that song is on, he has the Neil Diamond hair and everything. He's almost like he's trying to do that. I got to ask you, you mentioned about the producer who came in to where you were playing, or 2 of the guys. One of them was Dennis Coffey, right?
Right.
Had he not had the hit with Scorpio at that point?
What's funny? Sussex had a very good year between the end of 71 and the beginning of 72. They had Dennis. He came out first. I came out second, and then Bill Withers came out third. So all 3 of us were in the top 20 at the same time, which was great for Sussex, no doubt.
That's true.
But so it was. I don't know. I'm just extremely happy to be a part of this whole thing. I mean, it's nice to kind of be a part of your generation's music and feelings. And like I said, I get emotional when I see what all the people write and stuff, and how they say they were little kids and they loved the song and what it meant to them, and it's very, very nice feeling.
It must be nice when top 40 stations who've been around a long time do a lot of times they'll do this either on July 4th weekend or New Year's. They'll do their top 300 of all time, and invariably Nice to Be With You will end up in there. That must be really an amazing feeling. Well,
another weird thing too is to hear Casey Kasem, who's of course passed away. They run all those old shows. So my wife and I go out for rides at night in the car, and they have a thing called the Wheel of Casey. And they spin this wheel, and it supposedly lands on a certain year and a certain month. So it said, June 72, I got to be in here. So sure enough, we rode around till we went through the whole damn show. And I think he got us, and we were number 3 at that point.
Yeah.
On his thing. And it was just weird hearing that again after all those years, like you were reliving it exactly the way it was, funny.
Absolutely incredible. This thing's blowing up. You're selling a million copies. You're climbing the charts. What happens with you now that you're playing a little bar with your best childhood, but now your gallery, you're on the radio, you're blowing up. What happens with your career now?
Well, of course, we had to put the full band together, which ended up being 6 pieces. And then, of course, we had to get an agent and find out, what was going on out there that we could get involved in. And so we started doing some live shows, and I enjoyed it. We even did a video shoot at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Which was empty. They rented it. A&M rented it. A&M distributed Sussex Records, anything that was out of the States in Europe. A&M had their label on it. So in a way, we were kind of hooked with them. So they brought in actual motion picture cameras because there really wasn't video so much then yet. And they actually filmed us playing a couple of songs, and then that was going to be for sending out to other countries and stuff to see if they were interested. Now they did ask me if we wanted to play in South Africa, because I actually got a gold record from Johannesburg, South Africa. And but then when I read about the apartheid and all that kind of stuff, I said, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this. Yeah. And they were offering groups obscene amounts of money because they were trying to hide all that.
Yeah.
By saying, look, everything's fine, what's the matter, But I said, you know what? I don't care how much money they're offering. I'm not doing this.
Wow.
I said, that's not going to be in my legacy. I don't care,
Nice.
So.
No, that showed a lot of integrity. Wow.
Did you get out on the road? Were you touring behind this track quite a lot? You
know what? Here was the thing for me. I had 3 guys come over to my house. I had a little ranch house. I was married. I had 2 kids. And these guys contacted me. Their names were Katz, Gown, and Leffler. Now, Ed Leffler later on in his career, went on to handle Van Halen and people like that. Sandy Gallen became a legend. This guy, he had Michael Jackson for a while. He was partners with Dolly Parton. She had a company called Sand Dollar, and that stood for Sandy and Dolly. So this guy knew everybody, but at the time he was these 3 guys were working together as agents and managers. So they came out to my house. They went and watched us play, and everything went wrong. I think I busted like 35 strings, and costly. And so I said, "Oh man, I blew this. This is going to suck." So we go back to the house, and he said, "No, I don't care anything about that." He said, "I think you're the kind of guy that can grow with your audience. I think as you grow older, you can go in different directions where people are going to follow you." He said, "because you have that kind of voice." And so when we got to talking about it, this is another thing where, I'm talking with Sandy Gallen, and he says, I said, I got to tell you something up front. And he says, "What?" I said, "I have a wife and I have 2 kids, and I'm not going to be gone 300 days a year." And he looked at me kind of funny. I said, "I know you're going to want to work me to death at the beginning to get me out there." I said, "But here's the thing. I'm not trading what I have for this, because it'd be so easy to go down that road and lose everything I got behind me and end up with nothing." I said, "So if you can't understand that," and he looked at me for a minute and he says, "Jim," he said, "that is the most honest thing I've ever heard anybody ever say to any of us." They said, "Most people would sell their mom down the river for a chance at this, but you're telling me I'll do this under these circumstances." And he said, "That's fine." So 2 days later, Glenn Campbell's manager calls. He wants a meet. So now I'm going, oh my God, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm coming from playing in a little bar to having these guys come to my house. So there was a nightclub in Canada, a big one, years and years ago. And Glenn was playing there. And so we took a bunch of people. my wife's parents and my producers, Mike Theodore and them, and we all went down to see Glenn's show. And afterwards, his manager went back to my house. So he said, I'll tell you what, Jim, I know these other guys were there. I don't know how they know this, but they all know what's going on. And he says, don't sign with them yet. Give me a chance to make my spiel here. So he promised all this stuff, and he said, I'm not even going to make you sign anything. I said, what? He said, let me show you what I can do first. I said, and then I started thinking, well, that makes sense. I can understand that. So I called the other people, and I said, look, I can't make a move yet. I really got to hear this guy out. And they understood. And they actually went ahead and set up a gig in Disneyland for us. So I said, oh, wow. So I ended up going with Glenn Campbell's manager, who ended up not doing anything. And because Sussex, unbeknownst to us, was having problems. They ended up being bankrupt and had their doors padlocked. I don't know what it was over. And I wish I could have found out in time to jump to another label, but I had to find out after it was over. Nobody said anything to me.
Wow.
So they told Bill Withers. He jumped onto Columbia. So he was fine. He got everything going. But so that's kind of what happened in that period. It was very disappointing. I really didn't know what I was going to do at that point. So then a company in Detroit asked if I wanted to do a record, but it couldn't be Gallery. I said, well, what do you want? They said, well, we're kind of an R&B label. Do you think you could do something like that? And I said, I don't know. I'll get together with Mike and Dennis. And I started writing some tunes, and some of it came off pretty good. And
I have to say, Jim, you look very spiffy on that album cover. You kind of had that. You had the John Travolta look.
Well, no, I saw it more as James Bond. I'm sorry.
Okay, I get that too.
It's a white sports coat, and hey, but yeah, and actually that wasn't even my clothes. I flew to California. They set up a photographer, and he brought in his own wardrobe. We were about the same size. We were thin, and I just tried on a bunch of stuff, and we got to the white coat, and he says, "Okay, there it is. There's the cover right there." So that's what we used.
Yeah, well, you were doing pretty. Even though Nice to Be With You was a smash, you followed that up with your version of I Believe in Music, the Mac Davis track, and that
right.
I think that peaked at 22 on Billboard. So that's not a shabby follow up whatsoever. That's that's top 20.
It was kind of strange because I was a little worried about doing that. My producers really didn't want to cut that song. They called it a jukebox hit. They said, it's one of them songs, people go in a bar, they play it on the jukebox, but nobody buys it. And everybody that ever recorded an album has done a version of the song. I mean, B.J. Thomas, Elvis, right down the line. So we were short a song or two for the first album, and I mentioned it. I said, what if we did this? He said, oh, I said, look, let's do it totally different. Everybody else has done it the same exact way. I said, let's change it and do something to make it different, to make it interesting. So when they said that was going to be the follow-up to Nice to Be With You, I thought, well, time to go home and get a job at McDonald's. I said, this is not a good idea. I mean, my producers are telling me they don't even want to cut it, and they're going to release it as the follow-up to the biggest record we got. But I think in a way it was good because it showed that we could have a hit with somebody else's song as well as mine. Mm-hmm. And I think that was important. And Mac was, that's another thing. Catskill and Leffler were managing Mac Davis at the time. They came to my house. So I said, I heard Mac was mad because I changed the line in his song. And they laughed. They said, well, yeah, he was a little upset. And I said, please tell him I did not know the words. I said, I put what I thought I heard, and did it. Well, if you were professional, the right thing to do would have been ask for the lyrics, but we didn't do that. We just cut it. So we got on the Tonight Show, and they said, well, yeah, we know you wrote songs for Elvis and Bobby Goldsboro and all these people. Who did you write for that we maybe don't know as well that had a big set? He says, well, there was this group out of Detroit called Gallery, and they said, yeah, they had the biggest hit I ever had with their version of I Believe in Music. They said, theirs is the version that outsold all his, and he had it out 3 times.
Mm.
And he tried it 3 different ways, and it stiffed every time. He said, I grudgingly give them a shot for making a hit out of the song, but they changed one of my lyrics. And I said, I'm sorry, didn't mean to. But that's how that came. I never got to meet Mac, but the other, that's what they said. They said to Mac Davis, they said, don't worry about what Gallery did, just wait for the mailman.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then he brings the check.
Wait for your checks to come in, So that's, we kind of bluffed that off.
And you covered a Neil Diamond song too. It's one of my favorite tracks on that album, Sunday and Me. It's a beautiful song. Absolutely beautiful.
I was surprised because we kind of bluffed our way through that. It was like, I liked it, the song, and we just kind of ran through it in about 2 takes and said, okay, that'll be our cover. But we also did He Will Break Your Heart, the Jerry Butler song.
Yes,
the other cover of the album. I think that was it for that. I think we normally did a couple of covers with each album, but we always tried to change them up a little bit because I could never understand somebody redoing somebody's song and doing it the exact same way because it's never as good, ever. So
Right.
The only thing you can do is make it different and make it yours, your version. So that's how we looked at it,
No, I agree with that. I mean, lately in my world, which is, the world of melodic rock and roll, power pop stuff, there have been tribute albums coming out by, of various artists. And the songs that I invariably like the best are the ones where the band who's paying tribute makes it their own. It's a great song being done by a great band in their style. It's much better than, as you said, just doing a complete cop of the original.
Yeah, very much so.
Well,
very
it's just like my kids, of course, grew up listening to all the records that I had in my collection. So when someone would come to them and say, "Oh, did you hear that new record, Maybe Baby?" or that would be the day my Lynn Brown said, and Melissa would go, "That's not new. My dad had that in his record collection when he was a kid by Buddy Holly." And they'd go, "Who?" And they'd have to go search it up. But they already knew this stuff. They were all well-versed in my record collection.
Sure.
Well, it's even my kids, when they heard Tiffany's version of "I Think We're Alone Now," and they were like, "If you heard this new record," at that point, I'm like, whoa, let's go way back. And that's how I educated my daughters on where everything came from. It just started going back.
Sure.
Right, the self-titled Fleetwood Mac album's their first album. Right?
And you got to admit, what a great time for us to grow up. Like I said, I was 10 years old in 57, so I caught the tail end of that. All the 60s, 70s, 80s. We really lived through the best of the best. Mm-hmm. Nothing now compares with that. And I know that makes us sound like, oh, you guys, you just like your own era because you're a certain age and you don't get it and this and that. Well, I know a lot of kids that are singing them old songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
so you were about 16, 17 when the Beatles hit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I was, my wife and I actually, when we were first married, we saw the Beatles for, I think the price was $3.50.
Oh, my God.
At Olympia Stadium in Detroit. And they were on for like a half hour. I still remember the show was The Circle, the Ronettes, and the Beatles. The Beatles played for exactly a half hour, which went by like bam, and they were gone. That was it. But when I think back at how rudimentary all that equipment was, Ringo had his little 4-piece drum set that said the Beatles on it. They had a couple of box amps, and their microphones were going off, and they were running back and forth trying to sing on each other's bikes and stuff. So it was really bizarre.
What were so obviously you were a Beatles nut at that point. Like everybody was.
I remember my brother was actually the first one to see Hard Day's Night, and I was just old enough to drive, and my parents said, "Look, Jerry went to the show." He said, "Could you go pick him up?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So I'm waiting for everybody to come out, and I don't see him, and I get worried. And I said to the person there, I said, "Look, can I go in and look for my brother? He didn't come out." Okay, go ahead. But so I go in, and I'm walking down the aisle in the dark, and this hand comes out and grabs me and throws me down the seat. And I look, and it's my brother. He said, "Jim, you have got to see this movie." He said, "I'm going to watch it again, and you're going to watch it with me right now." So that was my first, I sat there mesmerized, because anybody who played or sang, that movie just made you want to do it. They look like they were having so much fun. And when I think back at what's happened, with people and Lennon's assassination and all this stuff, and it's just so sad, really, because you saw them at such a young age when they were just really into it, having a good time and writing these great songs. That was just the start of it. And then the way so many of these people end up, it's just so sad, because it starts out so innocent. You're just a kid who wants to play. I don't know how many hours I spent in my bedroom just trying to learn other people's songs and this and that. And we all came from the same thing. Well, when I first started traveling and worked with a bunch of different artists, for some reason I was kind of logged in with a lot of the 60s guys like Gary Lewis and Sonny Geraci from The Outsiders and Billy J. Kramer. So I got a chance to meet my record collection at that age, because I had owned all these people's records, and now I was working with them. So it was very surreal to me. It was very cool,
Sonny became a 70s guy too, as you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Precious and Few.
Yeah, he had a hit with Precious in 1972 as well. Yeah, he was a contemporary right there. Yeah, but one of my favorite songs, Precious and Few.
Yeah, his band Climax. At that point in 72, in 72, having a one-name band without a "the" was definitely in vogue.
Yeah,
I don't remember if you talked about this, but I don't remember if you spoke about this. But how did who chose the name Gallery?
I did. I wanted something simple and, like you say, one word. And but that, it's funny, that didn't really help down the road, because people would say gallery, and then someone would go, "Oh, it's so," "Oh, yeah." So they would remember the song, but they wouldn't always remember the name. So
right.
But you could sing that first line, and boy, you had them right there.
We mentioned that beginning of the show, is that everybody from that time period knows that song. It's such a classic of that time song, but it's lived forever. But if you were on an interview show and you said, "Well, who sang that song?" Man, people would be difficult to come up with the name Gallery.
Right. It sounded like a loud echo or something.
No, there's a lot of it's breaking up. It's breaking up, so I can't always hear you.
Test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you what I can do, since I can't really hear what you're saying. I'll just take it from what kind of is happening now.
Yes.
It was kind of funny, because I had some health problems with my wife, and so because of that, and she couldn't hear very well, I had kind of damaged my vocal cords. That's why it sounds a little husky. So I was writing these songs and I couldn't really sing them, which was disappointing. So Melissa came over one weekend to visit. I said, "What have you been up to?" She said, "Well, singing with my girlfriends." I said, "What? Singing?" I said, I didn't know about this. She says, "Well, here." So she turns her phone on and she's singing the song. And I said, "Holy mackerel." I said, "That's really good." So I played it for Mike Theodore because we're still in touch after all these years. We're still really good friends. And I said, "What do you think of this?" And he says, "I think it's really good." He said, "You got anything that she could sing that you wrote?" I said, "Well, if I don't, I will write it." So we at first we decided we're going to do 4 or 5 songs. Well, we're now up to 15.
Wow.
So it was sounding so good, and it was so fun to kind of lay back and be out of the guy who has to be the front guy and let her do it, and I write the songs. And plus, it let me go down some different roads with writing that I would have never went down. So it's turned out really well, and I can't stress enough that people should go on the website and hear what we're doing, because I'm just really, really proud of it.
Yep, and we're running right along the bottom of the page right now, jimgold.org, and you can check it out. But Jim, it looks like you can't hear us at all right now. I know the connection's a little fuzzy, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Jim, are you hearing me?
Pardon?
Can you hear me?
A little better.
Which one is talking right now?
California,
David.
right?
David is.
Yeah, the guy from California.
No, that's him.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, but that's frozen.
Hey, come on, he's got the California shirt on.
I
How could
know.
you miss that? But no, I can hear. Where'd you say you were coming in from? Where? Philadelphia or someplace?
I'm in New Jersey, outside of Philadelphia. Can you hear me?
One of you I could hear clearer than the other one. Now you're both kind of breaking up pretty bad.
Well, what I wanted to ask you, if you can hear it, is how has it been doing the reunion shows with Gallery?
Can you hear that? He said, how has it been doing the reunion shows with Gallery?
No, I can't hear real well. It's
all right.
Up pretty
I'm gonna hold 1 second. Hold on. Up. Yeah, I know where they're at. They have a sketchy internet connection. That's why Melissa was helping. I'm gonna ask Melissa to give me a call quick, and then we'll kind of explain that we'll try to wrap it up and
yeah, we're almost at an hour anyway.
Yes,
and I think we got through more or less everything Jim wanted us to get through.
He said they pop back. Exactly. Yeah.
But I do want. Oh, here we go.
Wow,
Jim looks very different now.
I don't know if she can hear us.
All right, hold on here. Hold on.
Can you hear us, Mel?
Yeah, I can hear you. Wait, come over here.
Okay.
I'm getting in a different spot here. The area I'm in sometimes does it too, so it could be partly me.
All right.
Ah. Is this better?
Is that better?
Can you hear us? Oh boy.
It might be there.
Well, if we can't hear too well, I hope you got a lot of what you wanted in between.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Good.
It's been wonderful.
It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I'm glad that you were interested in doing this.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
we're glad to. We're honored to have had you, and we wish you the best. You and Melissa and everyone else in your family.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. We're going to sign off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
And with that, we hit the hour. Wow.
That went by pretty quickly. Yeah. I asked Melissa to give me a call, and I can actually say thank you, so he understands that we appreciate.
And they can always watch it back. Maybe let her know that she should go on the archive and watch it back, and then she'll be able to hear the questions that we asked him.
Yeah. So no, it was fantastic. Really interesting. Learning about a band like Gallery that really didn't exist, but it existed. Then it went huge, and you got to respect the fact that he said, "Listen, I got a wife and kids, and I don't want to be, somebody who blows up and then I lose everything."
Well, that and the thing about not taking part in South Africa, when they were going to pay him a whole lot of money because he stood up for his principles.
Hey, Mel, can you hear us, Mel?
I could hear you guys fine, and then all of a sudden it started echoing again.
Okay, well, we wanted to say thank you so much for having here.
Thank you.
And you know what,
Melissa,
listen to it to it back when we put it up on archive,
right.
and you'll be able to hear the final
Thank
questions
you.
that we asked.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Thank
Jim,
you.
to you, Mel.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right,
and
you as well. Thank you.
be in touch. I'll be in touch.
Stay warmer in California. Take care. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Thanks. All right. Well, at least we got to say goodbye.
Yes, indeed. I knew when I had tested with her a week ago that where they live, they just have the internet's just not that strong. And
right.
And when we tested, it was a little iffy, but it was working. But we got it in. We got all that great information about Nice to Be With You in Gallery, and he's still cooking. I mean,
he really is. Looks great.
Go out to his website, which is jimgoldandgallery.com. That's going across the bottom. That talks about when he goes out and does reunion shows and plays as under the Gallery banner. And then you've got jimgold.org, which has a lot of the music that he is writing and recording with his daughter Mel. So a lot of great information there, and just a super nice guy. And of course, for you and I, the wheelhouse year of 1972, it just doesn't get any more classic than that. I am not going to say iconic, Mr. Borak. I'm not going to say it.
I think in terms of top 40 songs, Nice to Be With You is very iconic.
Very much so.
Because there's no one who grew up at that time that doesn't know that song, even if they don't remember the name of the band. And I mean, there are tons of groups you could say that about, including some who weren't one-hit wonders, like Gallery, for example.
Yeah.
It's some of it. I think some of it may have to do with how well albums do. Oh, what do we got?
Hi, Melissa.
Hey, how are you?
Great. I just wanted to make sure, because we're still live on the air, but I wanted to make sure that you and Jim knew how much we appreciated him being on the show, even though the connection at the
absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
And
appreciate you having us.
he was a super great guest and super nice guy, and we just wish him nothing but continued success, and of course with his music and with your music in the future. So we've run all the website information across the bottom, where people can find out what's going on with you and with Jim and with Gallery, and we just greatly appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you as well.
Take care, Melissa. Nice meeting you.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, Happy New Year. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, nice, good. Look at that. We can even talk to people on the cell phone live.
Technology, eh? Let me just briefly talk about. I was going to talk about this last week, but we ran so long that I didn't even bother. I have a few reissues here, among many reissues I haven't spoken about. Here's a 3-disc box set on the Morgantown label by a 60s band called Orange Bicycle. The complete trip, the complete recordings, 1967 to 1971. They never had any big hits in the UK or here, for that matter, but they definitely show up a lot on compilations. Probably the most famous song they did was Hyacinth Threads, which you'll see on a lot of psych pop compilations. And that's basically what this band did, psychedelic pop. They never had a proper album, I don't think, but or maybe they did have one. I don't remember, but they definitely had a lot of songs, including many that were previously unreleased, but everything is here. I have to say, if you're into psychedelic pop from the 60s, this is a great compilation.
Wow.
Let's see what else I have. Just a couple more things. We won't keep people here, but here's a guy from the UK who did have a big hit over there. Oh, I still have the price tag on it, but that's okay. I got this from the great record store Dusty Groove in Chicago. They have an amazing mail order company. Across That Bridge, the Keith West anthology, 1965 to 1999, on the Strawberry label, which of course is a subsidiary of Cherry Red. They've got grapefruit, they've got lemon, they got strawberry. Strawberry is one of their psychedelic pop labels. This is everything Keith West, or more, not everything, but a lot of what Keith West did. He was with the bands The In Crowd, Tomorrow, Moonrider, which Think Like a Key just put out Moonrider's album as a reissue. But the most famous song of his is Excerpt from Teenage Opera, which some people think of as Grocer Jack, because that's the lyric that a bunch of kids sing in the chorus. That song made it to number 2 on the UK charts. But he had a lot of really, really cool pop songs through the 60s and the 70s. And again, another thing, if you're into psychedelic soft pop in any way, you would love this anthology. I know I haven't opened it, so what do I know? But I've heard most of these songs before, and so I can't speak from experience. Now I forgot if I talked about these, but our good friend and guest on Material Issues, Steve Stanley, recently reissued 2 albums that are extremely rare in their original form. The band was Eternity's Children, who were from Mississippi, I believe, originally, but came out to LA to seek fame and fortune. They didn't quite get it, but they did release this one album on Tower Records in the US, and another album, a second one, called Timeless on Tower in Canada only. Again, they never had any really big hits, but Mrs. Bluebird from this album did make the top 100 in 1968, I believe. And they've had other songs that have made it on lots of different compilations. But these albums were very hard to get. And I'll never forget, in 1979, going into Canada, finding this album for $1, not knowing that Eternity's Children had a second album. And thinking, first I looked and I said, is that the same band? And sure enough, it was. Different sounds. This is definitely more of a psychedelic pop rock album. And this one is more of a light and breezy kind of, white soul, not exactly soul, but kind of in the fifth dimension, maybe why am I forgetting the band who did Kites Are Fun? Free Design, kind of in that vein. Steve did an amazing job on these albums. They're both gatefolds, where originally they were not. Wonderful liner notes talking about all the band members. Again, when Steve Stanley and Now Sounds do a job, they don't never do it half-assed. They don't take economic shortcuts like some of the other labels do. They figure, we're putting it out this way. We're going to spend the money to do it. We'll charge a little more, but collectors of that era should definitely want these. And unfortunately, I sold my 2 original Eternity's Children's albums. No, wait, take that back. I think I sold one and gave one to Steve Stanley for his birthday about 20 years ago. So so I don't have them anymore. Now I'm in the hunt for original albums, but right now these reissues are
Yeah, they're nice.
really, really cool. Let's see what else we got here. Well, here's a really cool compilation, which I also have in CD, so I haven't opened the vinyl yet. Safe in My Garden, more 60s sunshine and harmony pop. It's a 2-record set on Ace Records, the UK label, but it's all US bands basically. Who do you have here? Mark Eric, The Group, the aforementioned The Circle, Harper's Bazaar, The Critters, The Millennium, whose one album I just got on as a promo with a timing strip, which is wonderful. The aforementioned Free Design. And I guess it's not all US. Chad and Jeremy are on here.
Yeah.
The Eighth Day, not the 70s. She's not just another woman, Eighth Day, but the 60s soft pop Eighth Day. Love Generation, Sunshine Company, New Colony 6. It's an amazing collection, and not the obvious tracks generally. A lot of deep cuts on here. So you can get this on either 2-disc record or a single disc CD on Ace Records. A great compilation. Let's see. One last one.
You gotta be busy listening to all this stuff. Holy cow.
One last one. Oh God, if we talked about all the reissues I got, you might go broke. Charlie Records has done recently an immediate records revival, picking out some of the albums that Immediate had originally released or didn't release, like Billy Nichols' "Would You Believe," our guest a few months ago.
Yeah.
Here's another one. The second album by a group called Twice as Much. It's called That's All. I actually like the first album called Own Up a little more, and they haven't done that one yet. I'm surprised they did this one first. But this band was produced by Andrew Lou Oldham, who also produced Billy Nichols.
Sure.
And of course, Oldham was involved with the Stones as well. They opened this album with it's a duo. They opened this album with "Sitting on a Fence," the Stone song. They do a really nice soft pop version, and a lot of original songs on here as well by the duo Rose and Skinner. A great record. Again, I think the first one's better, but this one is really, really good. Oh, they also do a cover of Green Circles, the Small Faces song. They do a wonderful version of that.
I'm not familiar.
And one of the best songs by the group, written by the group, "Step Out of Line," is great on here. Yeah. So this just came out about a month ago. Hopefully they will do Own Up as well, but That's All is definitely worth buying.
It's amazing. It's amazing all the stuff that keeps coming out on vinyl and CD.
Yeah, it's
fantastic. Yeah,
and then it's not over yet. There's definitely a lot more stuff that could come out, both compilations and proper albums. We're always looking. I'm always looking forward to all of that. So, all right. So that's the reissues we'll talk about now. I guess we can remind people or tell people for the first time who we have coming up.
Yeah, this was our last show of 2025. So now we are going to be kicking it off into 2026. How many years have we been doing this now? When did we start?
Didn't we start in mid 2021?
21, yeah. So
definitely during still during COVID.
Yeah, we'll
be part of the reason we did it, because there wasn't anything going on yet. There wasn't any live music happening, so we fill the gap.
You talk about time passing, because I believe we started like May of 2021,
something like that. Yeah.
So May of this year, 26, is going to be 5 years we've been doing this.
It's crazy.
It's hard to believe.
We had no idea at the time we were going to do more than a few episodes, and we really didn't have any idea we were going to have so many guests. And it turned out that we've been blessed to have the guests that we've had, and we've got several more coming up.
We do.
Coming up on January 4th, well, most people listening to this show know about the Lemon Twigs. They're the wunderkinds of the pop community. Kids in their 20s who just really made a splash starting a few years ago with their albums and are continuing to do so.
Yeah.
And, we're always waiting for more and more by them. Well, their dad was basically their mentor early on. He too being a musician who had released some stuff on and recorded a lot more, which ultimately got released. But to pay tribute, my favorite label of all time, Omnivore Records, has put out this wonderful record written by Ronnie D'Addario. Ronnie is the dad of Brian and Mike of the Lemon Twigs. And what was I going to say? Anyway, this was a really good record written by Ronnie D'Addario, produced by the kids, the Lemon Twigs, and featuring them as well as some luminaries in the pop world. You got Darian Sahanaja and Probin Gregory of Wondermints. You got Todd Rundgren on a track. You've got Matt Jardine, son of Al, on a track. You've got Sean Ono Lennon on a track as well. Ronnie himself has released several records of his own material over the last few years, stuff that are recorded in the 70s and 80s, and like that. And so we're going to have Ronnie D'Addario on the show on January 4th, talking about his career and, of course, his kids. And I'm sure this will be a fun show. On January 11th, we have a band from Atlanta who played my festival, International Pop Overthrow, a few times. But the first time they ever played it, I think, was in Chicago. They came all the way up to play in Chicago. And I have never seen a band from out of town make such a splash. They were really entertaining. Everyone with their very quirky songs, and people were laughing at some of the lyrics, which are very cheeky, and just their stage presence was so much fun. And I've been saying for the past few weeks, well, first of all, the band is called the Shut Ups, and this is their new album, Proverbs, and it's a 2 CD set filled with that same kind of cheery, quirky, fun pop music that, fans of bands like Sparks would really like. One of the main men, Don Condescending, which again, Mr. and Mrs. Condescending have got to be proud of their son. He was going to be our lone guest, but he emailed me a few days ago and said, can we have some more Shut Ups members on with me? I said, sure, bring them on.
Yeah.
I said, they don't even have to be in the same place. We can do multiple locations. So I'm not sure who we're going to have yet. Maybe by next week I'll know. I know we'll have Don. We may have, we will have others. I actually know almost everybody in that band by name, but I don't want to reveal anything yet until we know. But in the meantime, you can buy this album, Proverbs, and if you're a fan of quirky pop, you will definitely love it. So there you go, January 11th. What do we got on the 18th?
The 18th. Matter of fact, one of the two guys who are going to have the show was actually watching this live show tonight. I saw him check in.
Was he?
Like everything, but again, if you grew up a little bit later in the eras, you probably were familiar with a band called Quincy, which had a top. I don't know. Did they make top 10 with that record? But
I don't know how they did nationally, but on the Billboard charts, I'm sure they made like alternative charts and other charts. They did have a major label deal. And
they turned into the brothers, Butler Brothers, turned into Smash Palace, who have had a number of fantastic albums. And it's funny, Steve used to live close by here, and it took until I went over to IPO Liverpool at the Cavern to actually meet him face to face when Smash Palace was playing there. But yes, the Butler Brothers write a lot of great music together, and they have a relatively new album. David's holding up, called 87. We're going to have Steve and Brian Butler of Smash Palace on the show.
And this album is called 87 because these are songs that they wrote and recorded in 87, some of which came out on an EP, vinyl only, of course, and some of which never had come out until this record. It's on Think Like a Key. Our good friend Roger Uday,
Great
who
label.
again has been issuing some amazing bands. In fact, one of our former guests on Material Issues sent me an email asking me if I knew any U.S. labels to release his third album. And I don't want to say who it is yet, but I'm going to refer him to Think Like a Key, and hopefully that ends up working out.
Wow.
But yeah, so Roger definitely has his he's got his fingers in a lot of really cool current acts, and he reissues some albums that nobody else has. And I actually sent him a list of ones that I'd like to see come out on CD that never have, and hopefully he'll investigate that. But yes, so Steve and Brian Butler of Quincy and Smash Palace will be our guests on the 18th.
Yeah.
And then on the 25th, as I mentioned about an hour and 18 minutes ago, I'll be playing tracks from my top 25 albums of 2025. I don't know which ones they are yet. I haven't started doing my list. It's more than one list, I should say. It's several lists of current and reissues. And it takes a lot of work, usually about 3 or 4 days, just to put the list together. And then it takes a few days prior to put everything in order so that I have them in separate categories. So it's a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And
a lot of people look forward to it. Yes,
I'll be posting the list on Facebook, hopefully around the 8th or 9th of January. So we'll see what happens. But and we've got irons in the fire. I definitely have 2 or 3 people that I'd like to contact. I may wait until after New Year's to do it. Again, because holiday season is not the best time to be trying to get a hold of people. Hopefully it works out. Yeah, and it always does. Mark and I have always been able, again, we've been blessed to be able to get some really cool guests. And I thank Mark for getting Jim Gold for us. Again, a guy from my
wheelhouse year.
My wheelhouse years, my coming of age years, the soundtrack of my life years.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you so much for
that was awesome. It was
getting
great
on the show, and it seemed like he had a really good time. Unfortunately, we had the technical issues, but it happens. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. That's right, Tim. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too, and Happy New Year to everyone listening. The next time we'll be on, it'll be 2026. So,
yeah, happy, healthy,
definitely stay safe. Yeah,
ring in the old, ring in the new, whatever, however you like to do it. But
don't drive on New Year's Eve. If you're going somewhere, get there and then stay overnight.
That's right,
because there are going to be some crazies on the road.
There
There will. I mean, there are going to be some drunken assholes who are looking to hit people with their cars. So be careful.
Well, we thank everybody for joining us, all our friends joining us here for 2025 for all the episodes. If you missed any of them, as we always say, materialissues.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen. That's where you can subscribe to our YouTube feed, watch all the archives. Doesn't cost you anything. There's no money involved. You just get reminded that we got shows coming up every week. And so check it out. Send the link to your friends. Tell them all about Material Issues, because we've got a lot of great shows out there, and
we really do.
Yes, indeed. So have a great one.
All right, everyone. Again, as love to Chesanati. Everyone stay safe. Happy New Year. We'll see you again in 2026.